Hey, it's Kelsey from roughandtumblefarmhouse.com, and today I'm going to show you how you can make a very simple DIY beard oil for that special bearded person in your life, whether it's your husband or your brother or your neighbor or whoever. It's a super simple recipe. It takes about 3 minutes. I'm going to take you through everything you need to know to make a perfect beard oil. So first of all, what is a beard oil? I'm assuming you know if you're already watching this video. But a beard oil is very simply usually a carrier oil, some essential oils for scent, maybe other properties, and someone who has a beard, you can rub it into your face and it helps to moisten and condition your beard as well as the skin underneath. So there are different types of oils you can use kind of based on your skin type. So we're going to talk about that. So we'll talk about the carrier oils and what that means. We're going to talk about the essential oils you can use or want to avoid, and then also how to mix up your own bottle. So first thing you're going to need is a carrier oil. So a carrier oil basically carries an essential oil because essential oils are really strong. You need to dilute them in a carrier oil. And so there are several different carrier oils you can use. There's actually lots of different carrier oils you can use. Man, try saying carrier oils 5 times fast. It's a tough one. And depending on what type of skin your bearded person has, that is going to affect which carrier oils you might want to use. So let's talk first about if you have a drier skinned person. Apricot, rosehip, squalene, avocado, those are all some good options to use. I should also note when it comes to using these oils, you want to make sure you use ones that are made for skin care, not just ones for cooking, because later on I'll mention sesame oil is a good one, and you want to make sure it's a sesame oil that has been processed for skin care. Because if you just get a sesame oil from the grocery store, it's going to be a much different result. Now, if you or the person you're making this oil for tends to be a little bit on the oilier side, or maybe you're a little more acne prone, there's some really good oil options for that too. Hemp, safflower, sunflower, grapeseed, those are some really good choices. Sweet almond, tea tree, and jojoba are some other good ones for that a little more oily skin. Now, if you're somewhere in between all of those, you're not really sure, almond oil is usually a great one to go for unless it's a person who has nut allergies, so be aware of that. Grapeseed and sesame are other good ones. They're just kind of a general all-purpose carrier oil. One you definitely want to avoid is coconut oil. Coconut oil, I know a lot of people use it for a lot of things, but it can definitely have some pore clogging issues, and so that's one. If you're going to use coconut oil, you'd have to get the refractionated coconut oil, where it's gone through a process where it kind of separates all the fat, so it keeps it in a liquid form, but you don't want to use that anyway, so just not today. Now, when it comes to the essential oils that you're going to be adding to your beard oil, there are definitely some you want to avoid. The most popular ones that people know about is typically avoiding citrus oils. They react with sunlight, and so having them on your face, even with a beard, it's not a great idea to be using citrus oils. So like lemon, grapefruit, lime, any of those sort of things, orange especially, you don't want to use those in there. And there are a couple other ones you want to avoid. I'm actually just going to read them straight off my list here so I don't forget them. Bergamot, cinnamon, clove, peppermint, jasmine, and oregano are some other ones that tend to be a little more irritating to the skin, so you want to avoid using those. Okay, so before we mix this up, I do want to talk really quick about essential oil dilution. Now, it's kind of a bone I have to pick a little bit with the sort of homesteady, crunchy community that not everyone, but most people are into essential oils and use essential oils, myself included. I like using essential oils, but you oftentimes see that the dilution rate is way too high for what people are using. So if you look at, Mountain Rose Herbal is one that I really like their website. Their conversion chart and their information is really easy to understand. If you look at the information coming from reputable suppliers of essential oil makers, you should really only be using a 1 to 2% dilution. And if that sounds, you're like, okay, we're getting into percentages. It's going to be much more simple than that, I promise. But if the person using this is a child or a pregnant person, it should only be a 1% dilution rate. Everybody else, 2% is fine. So I was actually looking at a very popular like homesteading kind of herbal type book, and they had a recipe in there for a beard oil, and they used twice the amount that I'm going to recommend to you today, but I'm going based on what the suppliers tell you is a safe rate for use, as well as what many other reputable sources say is a safe dilution rate. So today we are going to be making the beard oil in one of these nice little dropper bottles. So this is a 1 ounce dropper bottle, which equals to 30 milliliters. And so for a 1 ounce dropper bottle, you want to be using at most 12 drops of essential oil, and that gets you to that 2% dilution rate. So even less, again, if it's a pregnant or child bearded person you're making it for, it should be half that. It should be only 6 drops for this whole bottle. So there it is next to my hand, so you get the idea of how big this is. It's a pretty standard size. So again, 12 drops of essential oil. We're going to be using our carrier oil as well. And then if you have some vitamin E oil, which I was out today, I was going to show you that. It's just a little bottle. It's a yellow label. I usually get, I think, the Jason brand. And adding just a couple drops, like 2 drops in there, really helps with kind of the conditioning properties, as well as being a little bit of a natural preservative. It's going to extend the shelf life on this a little bit. So I'm going to show you how we put one of these little suckers together. All right, so here I have my little bottle, and it's really nice. When I ordered these, they came with this slick little funnel, which is really helpful to have. A pack of, I think it's 12 of these right now. I got these on Amazon, are only $8. So they're incredibly affordable, and we're not using a ton of oils in here either. So putting this whole thing together is going to be less than $1 to make. So it's a nice little last minute gift, or an affordable gift, especially if you want to make multiples for people. So first thing I do, which again I don't have, is just put a couple of drops of the vitamin E oil in there. Just 2 little blops in there would be perfect. And then we're going to add our essential oils. Now for my essential oils, I am using a blend of patchouli and vanilla. And patchouli really is good for being like anti-inflammatory. My husband, he has some eczema things, and patchouli is super strong. So I'm just going to put 4 drops of patchouli in there. And again, I'm only using 12 drops of essential oil for this entire bottle. And then my other 8 drops of essential oil are coming from vanilla. Now, technically, vanilla is not an essential oil. This is an absolute, I believe. So don't come after me in the comments. They don't actually have an essential oil made from vanilla. It's not possible. But we're using this in here anyway. It's perfectly skin safe. So there's 2. I got to count here, lose track. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like watching grass grow, and 8. Perfect. Okay, so we have our essential oils in there, or our absolute in our essential oils. And then I'm just going to top this off now with my carrier oil. So I'm using for my husband an almond oil. It's just a good general nourishing oil. And so I'm just going to kind of watch here. It's hard. I guess you can probably see pretty well. I'm going to fill it up just to kind of the top of the shoulder here. So I'm literally just pouring that oil on in there. Now, if you have someone who wants kind of a fancy looking mustache or something, then you might be better off making something with beeswax, more of like a pomade. But this just for your general guy who wants a healthy looking beard with a little luster. This is where it's at. So just to the top of the shoulder there. Hopefully I didn't overdo it. I don't think I did. Because if you fill it all the way up to the top, then you are not going to have enough room to put the little dropper back in. Okay, so honestly, that's basically it. Just gonna take this out and put my dropper in there. Give it a little shake. It's another reason to leave a little space in there so you can mix it up. And there you go. That is a very simple DIY beard oil. So this really could not be any simpler to make, obviously, to whip together. You want to use just a couple of drops. You can put it right on the beard. You can put a little in your hand first. I think just the beard works best, and just incorporate it, and you can use it every day if you want to. Now this little bottle will last my husband about a month, maybe a little bit more. And I did at one point try making a bigger batch, I think in like a jelly size jar, so that way I could just pour it in there. Well, unfortunately, oils, the carrier oils especially, they have a pretty short shelf life. I would say at about like 6 months or so, it starts to get a little bit funky. And so I found that we didn't get all the way through a bigger batch before it started to get kind of, like a rancid sort of smell. It's not great, not something you want all up on your beard. So I would recommend just making it 1 bottle at a time. And then there's some other recipes I have on my blog. If you got a big thing of oil like this, you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do before it goes bad? You can make balms and salves and other really great things out of it as well. So I'll link to some of those recipes below in the description box so you can make some other fun things too for you or friends or whoever. So let me know if you have any really great blend suggestions. That's the other thing in terms of what essential oils you're going to use. You're going to have to play around with that, a little bit of perfumery here to figure out how to get that perfect scent blend that you like. Again, making sure you're staying within that about 12 drops. And you can also blend your oils. You don't have to use just one carrier oil. You could have done, half avocado oil and half apricot kernel oil, you can really mix it up and play around and see how it works. I would also recommend making sure you do just maybe have them try it out once or just on a little patch of their beard or something and see how it is in case they have any skin sensitivities that they didn't know about, and maybe they're discovering, you know, they really don't react well to tea tree or something like that. So give it a try, and hopefully the bearded person in your life loves their new beard oil. Thank you so much for watching. You'll find us here again next week for another new video and blog post about farming, family food, and fortitude here at our rough and tumble farmhouse.